So what is the Chicago Bulls' biggest problem heading into the next season? That's going to be diving into on today's edition of the Bulls Report by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in. I think the Bulls have made a lot of solid moves this offseason, but I still think there's an overarching problem with this roster, the way it is currently constructed, that I think will kind of limit the Bulls' potential heading in the next season. But before I give you guys my problem with the Bulls, if you think the Bulls are going to make the playoffs this season, just give me a like on today's video. I'm trying to get the momentum, trying to get the good juju going into the Bulls season this upcoming year. So if you think the Bulls are going to be a playoff team, just give me a thumbs up on today's video. So let's talk about it. What is the Bulls' biggest problem heading into next season? The problem, it's size. And, fellas, size always matters no matter what she tells you. But seriously, I do think size is the biggest issue around the Chicago Bulls this year. If we take a look at the way, the roster kind of sits right now, I love the wings with LaVine and DeRozan. We know what they offer to the table with just being elite. LaVine obviously being a 3-level scorer and then DeRozan being the mid-range assassin that he is. But I'll just focus in here. You got Nikola Vucevic as your big man, that you don't really have any other options off the bench. And we're just talking about the Bulls front court here. Vooch, 6'10", Drummond, 6'11". Then there's a real big fall off. And honestly, these two, yes, they're solid size, but they're not like Rudy Gobert type of archetypes where they're extremely long and can move really well. The Bulls overall are a smaller team. Because then even at the wings, we don't have a wing that gets over 6'9". That's Sanogo, obviously the guy in the two-way, the center. He's only 6'9", but Williams 6'8", Torrey Craig 6'7". I just think the Bulls overall as a roster lack size. And I think size is an undervalued trait in the NBA. I think in the modern-day NBA, if you ask, fans, what do you think contributes to winning at the highest level? I think most of them will say, shooting, ball handling. But honestly, I think size has become an undervalued trait that we look for in the NBA. Because if we look at the past 10 NBA champions, they have all had kind of a size advantage against most teams. And especially this last year with the Denver Nuggets. I mean, when they were able to roll out Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic at their 3, 4, and 5, they were a massive team. And I will say the one outlier on this list right now is probably the Golden State Warriors. But again, the Warriors were one of the best offensive teams we have ever seen. But then 2021 with those Bucks teams, with Giannis, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, big dudes. The Lakers with the Dwight Howards, LeBron, and Anthony Davis during that bubble year, they were a massive team as well. And even those Raptors teams with Kawhi, Marc Gasol, Pascal Siakam, and then even dating back to LeBron's days in Cleveland, they were always big as well with Mozgov, Tristan Thompson, obviously Bron, and then even the Spurs with Kawhi, Tim Duncan. They were always bigger teams. And if the Bulls are wanting to make a run in the Eastern Conference, they're going to have to run into all of these guys eventually at some point. You have Joel Embiid still up there in Philly. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what Embiid thinks every single time he goes against the Bulls and he sees Vooch and Andre Drummond. He's thinking he's taking their lunch money any day of the week. But you still got guys like Bam. Even though Bam maybe is an undersized center, he still has a sense of physicality to his game. And then in Cleveland with Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, they are a big unit. Now with Kristaps in Boston, their ability now to run Kristaps at 7'3", Al Horford at still 6'11", maybe even a Robert Williams at that 6'9", 6'10", they're a big team as well. And then I do like what the Pacers did this offseason, so them having Miles Turner, also a huge advantage. I think size is the biggest problem for the Bulls. But I'll ask you guys on today's pinned comment, what is the Bulls' biggest problem? I'll be kind of diving into more of my thoughts here in a second, but YouTube's going to throw you an ad break. Let me know. What is the Bulls' biggest problem heading into the next season? Let me know down in the comment section. So you may be asking yourself, why does size matter? Why are you making such a big deal about size in the NBA? I think overall, the number one reason is just defense. I think defense has also become a very undervalued trait. And now we can look back at the past 10 NBA champions and look at their defensive rating. And I left the Denver Nuggets off on here because they were actually the first team over the past 10 years that weren't top 10 in defensive rating, besides obviously the 2018 Golden State Warriors as well, who were 11th. But again, that 2018 with the Golden State Warriors, they had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. They were an offensive powerhouse. But you guys see the trend that I'm trying to get the point to here. Obviously size, it impacts defense. And what does defense impact? Defense impacts winning. Even the Warriors last year, they were first in defensive rating. The Bucks were 10th. Lakers were 3rd. Raptors were 5th. Warriors back in 2017, 2nd. The Cavs with LeBron were 10th. 2015 Warriors, they were first as well. And I think we also undervalue just Klay Thompson and Draymond Green as just defensive anchors for those Warriors teams as well. But Spurs, third again. And then 2013, the Heat were ninth. And funny enough, the Bulls were actually top 5 in defensive rating last year. They were floating around that 8 to 12 range for majority of the year. But then once they added in Patrick Beverley, they really took that next leap. And my whole take with the Bulls defense is I really do believe that they have the personnel to be, again, a top 5 team in defensive rating next year. But it's going to come down to the big fellas because we have the point of attack defenders. And Caruso, Ayo, Jevon Carter, they can really get after opposing teams' guards. Then we also have solid wing guys in Williams and Craig that can really be extremely versatile, switch 2 through 4, but it's going to come down to the bigs. It's going to come down to the size. And maybe Vooch and Drummond, they are undersized. They are, not as big as guys like Embiid, but maybe they can add some sort of physicality. So I just think it's going to come down to the big fellas because who knows? Maybe if Vooch just somehow has an outlier year and he's one of the best defensive centers in the league, I think you can make an argument the Bulls could have the best defense in the league. It just comes down to the 4 and 5 spots. Number 2, rebounding. Again, if you ask the common NBA fan or just the common fan in general, what do you think contributes to winning the most? I don't think anybody would mention rebounding, but something I found interesting, 9 of the past 20 NBA champions have been top 5 in rebounding. Let that sink in. If we're looking at one stat that could kind of be correlated over the past 20 NBA champs, rebounding's up there because nearly half of them have ended up being a top 5 rebounding team. Obviously, it's a little bit connected with defense as well because if you're a good defensive team, you're allowing yourself more chances at defensive rebounds. But rebounding's huge. You just close out the possession. You don't allow another team, other opportunities. So rebounding, another reason why size really matters in the NBA. And then number 3, slashing. And I think when I think of slashing and, the combination of size, I think of Giannis. The ability to get to the lane and kick out the open shooters is an incredible trait to have. And why it matters, why the ability of slashing matters so much. The ability just to get paint touches causes the defense to just live in rotation. I mean, you think about it. You get your feet in the lane and you have shooters all around you. The defense just starts rolling around and they're flying all over the place, and it just allows shooters open looks. And then also slashers. And when you have the defense in rotation and you get in the lane and you kick out and then they're coming in a hardcore closeout, it's a lot easier just to drive by those guys. So that's why paint touches and slashing in terms of size matter so much. But guys, with the season just around the corner, we're going to be your one-stop shop for all Bulls news and rumors. Just hit that subscribe button. More fun videos like this will be coming your way. So if you guys haven't already, join our family here at the Bulls Report. Subscribe today. So a little Bulls preview here because, like I said, I think the Bulls got a very solid roster. They're just lacking size and maybe that true number 1 and a Jokic, Embiid, Giannis type of player. But in terms of scores, I feel like they have that. Levine and DeRozan, no matter what you think about them, on the offensive side of the floor, they're some of the best to ever do it. Guard defenders. I think the Bulls also have that as well. I think you need guard defenders to win in the modern-day NBA just to cause havoc on amongst other teams' offensive guards. The Bulls have that. Like I said, Jevon, Ayo, and Caruso are some of the best in the league. Also got wing defenders. Patrick Williams, Torrey Craig, their ability to switch 2 through 4 I think is extremely undervalued. And I think Billy Donovan should be able to take advantage of that with the combination with your guard defenders like I've been mentioning. But then you also got offensive connectors. And I think this is in a very undervalued kind of type of role player and type of archetype that we have in the NBA. A guy like Caruso, he averages 6 points a game. Nobody's saying Caruso is an elite offensive scorer. But the thing I love about Caruso is he makes the extra pass. He can step in and hit a catch-and-shoot 3. Where, most of the time in the NBA, you want your guys like Levine and DeRozan getting most of the shots. You don't want your role players just chucking up shots where you need some of those more connecting pieces. And guys like Caruso, Carter, and Ayo fit that bill very, very well. But it's just going to come down to size. You can have these 4 green check marks, and the Bulls can do it all very, very well. But if you don't got that, I think it's going to be a lot harder to kind of win an NBA championship. So overall, to conclude my kind of thoughts on the Bulls' biggest problem, there's no doubting it that they have gotten a lot better this offseason through the draft and free agency, but I still think their size is just going to overall limit their potential. I do think there's a cap on how far the Bulls can do, and honestly, it's probably a first round, maybe second round exit. I think the Bulls are good enough to maybe win one playoff series, but if they find themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think we'll be living in a different, reality, or this Bulls roster will be looking a lot different. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. Bulls' biggest problem heading into the next season is size. We'll see you guys next time. Go Bulls.